What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Latinaly, the podcast that is untamed, uncensored, and unapologetic. So, a lot of you know I did not publish an episode last week because it did not feel right. The murder of George Floyd paired with the other countless murders of Black people, I think ignited or reignited a fire. I don't want to say reignited because I don't want to say the fire goes away. I just think that people live, and it needs to be kept lit at a roaring thunder of a fire. And I think that happens with education. So I did not publish so that my audience and myself can educate ourselves and can educate others. I wanted to take my time to broaden my scope of the things that I already knew, but we can always keep learning and we can always keep evolving. So I encourage you to do the same, even if it's learning about your own history while simultaneously understanding where that falls in the history of others as well. So, with that being said, let's get into today's episode, which, on a lighter note, is a very special episode because tomorrow I am getting married, finally. Latinaly has done a couple, I think this is the second episode in the wedding marriage realm, so let's keep the trend going. My last episode was about how to tell him that you want a ring, and also I talked about how you want a ring and when it's time to have that conversation. So, honey, this has been a long time coming for me. I've been engaged for about 2.5 years now, which is exhausting. I have to tell you, I think that the engagement part of this whole thing, I think it's very overrated. Like, I think that the normal or the acceptable amount of time that a person should be engaged is no more than 1.5 years, because after that it becomes excruciatingly redundant. So, because like you have the bridal, like you have the engagement party, and then you have the bridal shower, and then you have the bachelorette party, and then you have and then you have the dinners, and you have the venue tours and the cake tastings and meh. For those of you that do that, I did not do that. Anyway, an acceptable amount of time is 1.5 years. I promise you, anything over that, you are going to be like, oh my God, I'm sick of this already. So that's how I feel. So I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm like so over, oh, this is my fiance. I'm tired of being in that stage. Like, I'm done. I'm over it. I'm over it, honey. So I realized that every time I talk about marriage or every time I talk about the future, I talk about it from the point of view of a woman who wants to do those things, wants to commit, wants to settle down, wants the white picket fence and the American dream, which is hysterical, and, moving in together and engagement and rings and babies and bah. But that's not always the case, right? And especially in our culture, like traditional Puerto Rican older women breed daughters who are born and bred to then find a man and have babies, etc. And when that doesn't happen, I promise you, every single time you're around your family. Now, if you don't live at home, this is a little better. But if you live at home, that's a whole other can of worms. But if you don't live at home, every time you see your mother, she's going to ask you, why are you single? Okay? Your family's going to judge you, point blank. If you're like 23 and you don't even have a boyfriend, yeah. Now, I don't know how everyone else in the world is, but I know that Puerto Ricans, no. 23 and you're single? Yeah, honey, there's a problem. Your grandmother's going to need to pray for you because she's going to tell you that you need to give her a great-grandchild before she dies. Okay? And if your mother's anything like mine, she will tell you the same thing. Family gatherings. No one's going to ask you about your job and how happy you are in your new apartment. No. They're going to ask you, where's your man? Okay? And that's if you're in your 20s. Mama, if you're in your 30s and you're not married, you're a lost cause. You're damaged goods. No one's going to want you. You're going to dry up soon. Okay? So that's in our culture. And then when you finally do, or if you do say, oh, I'm getting married, or oh, I have a boyfriend, they're going to think it is a God-given miracle. But I have many girlfriends who either go through the same thing and either want it or don't want it, or they're not ready for it. And I need to remind them that that's okay. You know, because a lot of my girlfriends are in relationships and committed, you know, no like dating around, like they're in committed relationships. And they want to focus on themselves. They want to focus on their career. They want to focus on their own growth, right? And when they ask me what I'm doing, I'm 25, I'm getting married, and I have a house, and blah 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 blah. A lot of them kind of this look of like they're petrified, or like this look of like this surprised cast comes over their face as if they're doing something wrong, you know? And then like I'll always get, oh girl, you got it all together. And I'm like, sure, for me. And I have to remind them that just because they're not in the same place as me doesn't mean that it's wrong, or doesn't mean that they're far behind. That doesn't mean that they're lacking something. It's just different. So encourage your single friends that it's okay. Please. Okay, because if you're married and you have 3 kids and you have a single friend, please let your bitch know it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to have a man. You don't have to want to move in with him. You don't have to want to split the bills. You don't have to join your bank accounts together. You don't have to do it. Just because I did it doesn't mean you have to do it, baby. Everybody's life is different. Okay? Because, you know, it really comes down to this, because I have girlfriends who are in relationships with their man for like 5 years and they don't want to move in with him yet. They have their own friends that they want to go out and they want to party, and they don't want to answer to a boyfriend. Because when you live with someone, you know, your man's gonna be like, damn, like it's 1 o'clock in the morning, where is she? Right? A lot of women don't want to give up that freedom or that independence. Right? Now, I'm the kind of woman that I don't, I believe that when you are in a relationship, you need to respect the other as an individual, and you need to understand that this is how they are. This is what they're going to do. So, for example, when Victor met me, I decided that I wanted to go party. And that's just who I was when he met me. When we get together, certain things will change. Like the only thing that should change is that I tell him that I'm going out. Do you understand? And I'll let him know what time I'm coming home, only because he's going to be worried and he'll stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning until I come home. Right? Okay. That's the only thing that should change. Letting each other know where you are out of respect. See, but some women don't even want that shit at all. And listen, do your thing, baby. Okay? So it's not that they don't want to move in yet. It's not that they don't want to marry you now. It's just they don't want to marry you yet. It's not that they don't want to move in at all. They just don't want to move in. Some women are still living at home at the age of 24 and they're paying off their student loans. So no. Why would she move out? Why is she going to move out to pay rent when she's still paying off her student loans and she's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt? Leave her alone. Do you know what I mean? You know, so those are my women that are just not ready yet. And it's okay. okay. And listen, men, if your woman is not ready yet, please stop pressuring her. Please stop doing it. You need to let that woman be. Okay? But see, this is where my hypocritical side comes out. See, because I, like, when I'm ready for something, I push and I push and I push and I push. So just take what I say and just, like, do with it what you will. You know, because I'm the kind of woman that I don't like to be pressured. But if I want something, I'm going to pressure you. I don't know. And maybe just a Latina thing. I don't know. But I do that out of love. That's all I can say. It's out of love, you know? Don't pressure me, because when you pressure me, I'm not like a diamond. You can't pressure me into doing something great. It's just not going to work. Does that make sense? Probably not. But fuck it. It's fine. So those are my not yet women. But then, there are women, and I know some of them, who don't ever want to get married. And this is it's like a stigma, right? So the women I just talked about are the women who are just simply not ready. The woman that I'm about to talk about are women that everyone look at like she's crazy. Like, oh my God, you don't want to get married? Oh my God, you don't want kids? I think not. I think women not having kids is a whole other topic, is a whole other stigma and episode. So I'm not going to dig too deep into that. But all I will say about that is this. You know, no, that's a whole other episode. I'm not even going to get into that right now because I can talk forever about that shit. But the women that don't want to ever get married are looked at like they're fucking crazy. And I think that it's important to open up some of the reasons, and this is from research, because again, I'm not one of these women that don't want to get married. Here are some that I found. They have their own failed relationships. A lot of women go through shitty ass partners. I am one of them. You go through infidelity. You go through dishonesty. You go through emotional, mental, physical abusive relationships. Yeah, you're probably not going to fucking want one. Okay? I get it. You know, so you go back and you think about your past and you're like, I'm done. That's it. I'm over it. I'm good. Like, I'm good off that. I'm good, love, enjoy. That type of shit, right? Then a lot of women don't want to get married because their own parents had a failed marriage and they lived in a home with a broken marriage that ended up leading into divorce. So that I understand too. Now, my parents are divorced. It did not affect me, but everyone is different, you know. And I think that when it comes to divorced parents, I think that a lot of women get scared because they saw it happen. So why would they want it to happen to them? They know how ugly it can get. Because divorces can be so ugly because divorce brings out a side of people that will, like, your brain kind of just explodes. And like, I've seen a couple movies and I've seen, you know, people that have gone through divorce, and I've seen these things. And honestly, you know how they say like Hollywood dramatizes certain things? Yeah, no, they don't dramatize divorce. That is how it is. Some people get so vicious and fucking spiteful. Yo, some of these, I mean, honestly, it'll have your, like you can't even fathom some of the things that people say. And these are people that they once loved. I think that that's what hurts the most too. It's like at one point you love that person more than anything in the world, and that's it. They want a divorce. Now, whatever that reason might be, which I think is a whole other episode, you know, a divorce is a divorce. And sometimes it's not pretty. So a lot of these women see their own parents or they see other people and they're like, nah, I'm good. Deuces, I don't need that shit. Now, that's not to say that they can't be in a relationship for 15 years and it be successful and they're in love, bought a house, they have a couple kids. They just don't want a marriage. Because then you really intertwine a lot of things. Not only do you intertwine your life, You intertwine your morals, your beliefs, your day-to-day, your fucking job, your money. Hello? You're married. Yeah. Your money is now like this. Okay? Intertwined. My fingers are intertwining right now. And a lot of women don't want that. Because in the event that you do get a divorce, do you know the amount of paperwork that you have to do? Also, did you know, this is a fun fact for anyone getting married. Did you know that when you get married, right, you have, everyone knows this, you have the option to take your partner's name, their last name, right? When a woman takes her husband's last name, that's fine. And I'm not talking about hyphenating. I'm talking about if she takes his last name and drops her maiden name. If in the event they get a divorce, he needs to give permission for her to change her name back. Now, if you're scared shitless of that happening, I suggest that you hyphenate your name. That way, if you do get a divorce, all you do is drop his name and you are back to who you were before. Fun little fact. Don't know if you knew that, but now you know. So let's talk about birth and children, because that's what also leads couples to breaking up. And that's what also leads women to not want to get married. They don't want to have kids. They don't want kids. And that piece of paper, that commitment, adds this level of pressure to people. It adds a level of pressure on people to have children. But then on the flip side, I am a firm believer that you do not have to be married in order to have children. Because like I said, some of these women are in relationships for 15 fucking years, 20 years, 30 years, and they're never married. Do you expect them to never have children? I don't. I don't expect women to never have children if they're not married. I mean, that's ridiculous. But you also can't expect women to want to have children. Again, and that's a whole other episode. Okay? But a lot of the time, women don't want to get married, or women want to be single mothers because they want that independence. And I think that it all comes down to this independence of your life, your time, your freedom, your money. And I think when it comes to having a child, I don't think that it's wrong if a woman is in her 30s or 40s and she wants a baby. She has every right to go to a sperm bank. She doesn't need to be married. She can go to a sperm bank, literally pick out who she wants, and boom, she can have a baby all by herself. And then she can raise that child however she damn well pleases. Because a lot of the time women just want to have a baby. And they don't want to have to partner up with someone. They want their child and they want to raise their child to their own discretion. And I think that everyone has the right to do that. You know, and there are some women who just want to live their life. I mean, there are some women that just want to travel the world and experience life. And they don't, you know, and you cannot move freely while you're in a relationship. Like, not that you're not allowed, but eventually it's going to cause a strain. If look at people who travel a lot for work. Those relationships are on thin ice, because what happens is you're away from each other for so fucking long. It's not going to work. Eventually, someone's going to get sick and tired of it, and shit's going to hit the fan. So a lot of women don't want to be tied down like that, you know? And this is not just marriage. I mean, I think it's just women wanting to be single also, you know, and they don't want to be responsible for anybody but themselves. And some people might look at that as selfish, but to be honest with you, who gives a fuck? Honestly. You know, and another reason women don't want to get married is because they don't want the full-blown wedding. I mean, I've been told by a couple women who are in very healthy relationships that the piece of paper is not going to it's not going to change anything. If anything, she thinks it might make life harder. And if that's the case, then so be it. Why fix something? Why change something if nothing's wrong? You know? I mean, I believe in change and evolution and whatever, but when it comes to certain, when it comes to something beautiful, if it's not going to evolve it, leave it alone. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. I mean, like the piece of paper is not going to add anything. It's not going to take away anything. So why do it? If it's not going to make them better, or if it's not going to make them even more, like, so what? Like, just leave it alone. And that I can understand, and then when it comes to the full blown wedding, some women don't want to spend $50,000 on a wedding. Some women don't want to spend the $50 for the fucking marriage license. Listen, it's up to you. At the end of the day, if you're happy, you cannot let what other people do affect you and your decisions. Just because I'm 25 and I'm getting married doesn't mean that anyone who's 30 or 35 years old and not married is doing it wrong. That's not the case, because marriage is a huge step in anybody's life. I mean, in a relationship, it's a huge thing to even think about whether you want to get married or you don't want to get married. It's fucking huge, because you need to understand that marriage is not just loving someone. You know what I'm saying? Marriage is you're intertwining your life with someone, your money, your kids, your beliefs, your day-to-day, your decisions, your jobs, everything. I mean, if you're in if you're in a marriage and let's say you're in New York and you're working and someone gets an amazing job offer in Texas, yeah, you have a lot to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So, many women dream of getting married, like myself, tomorrow. Some women want nothing, absolutely nothing to do with it. And that's okay. Now, you can relate to the things that I've said. You can relate to some of the reasons in which women don't want to get married. Or you don't have to relate to them at all. I think that the whole point of this whole thing is that at the end of the day, only you know your reasons. Only you know your reasons of what is good for you. And only you know your reasons of what is bad for you. And nobody can tell you but you. You feel me? So I just ask of everybody, especially with everything going on, you need to respect others and you need to respect their decisions. Okay? Because if we did that a little bit more, I don't think that we would be in such a shitty position that we're in today. Okay? So, boo, if you never want to get married, if you never want to have children, do your fucking thing. Okay? Shit. But I'm going to do my thing and get married tomorrow. Okay? So I thank you guys so much for tuning in today and listening to me. I really appreciate you guys. You can watch the video version of this on YouTube, Latinaly Podcast on YouTube. We are on Spotify and Apple. I think we're also on Google. You can follow me at Latinaly Podcast on Instagram too, where I post some inspirational shit, some little clips, things like that. Also, if there's anything you want to talk about, if you want to have a conversation with me, if you want me to bring up a topic on the show, email me at latinalypodcast@gmail.com. I really appreciate you guys so much. I will talk to you guys next Friday. Thank you so much. I am Kiah Rose. This is Latinaly, and I'm signing off. Bye.